Hi, my name is Jim Schultz, and I'm lead pastor of Bonham Presbyterian Church. Holy Week. In it, we celebrate Palm Sunday, Maundy Thursday, Good Friday, and Easter Sunday. What about Saturday? This is the day between the death and burial of Jesus and His coming resurrection. Do we linger here? Part of what we do during Holy Week is rehearse the story of Jesus. We take communion on Maundy Thursday to remember the Last Supper of Jesus. We reflect on Good Friday, where Jesus takes our sin and our death on the cross. We remember Easter Sunday, which is the greatest of all days, when Jesus rose from the dead and defeated sin and death once and for all. What about Saturday? Imagine what Holy Saturday would have been like. The disciples had spent 3 years following Jesus because they truly believed in the depths of their soul that He was the Messiah and King. They didn't just believe it, but they had experienced it. Yet despite all this, Jesus is dead, murdered on a cross, laid in a tomb. Friday is over. Today is Saturday. We have special names for the other days. If I were to name this one, I might call it Silent Saturday. It's the quietest day in the church calendar. No special liturgy, no services observed, just deafening silence. It must have felt that way to the disciples. They did not know that Jesus would raise from the dead. All they knew was death and defeat. They were simply left with the loss, and there's nothing to say about it. So they're silent. Silent Saturday is a day without resolution. Good Friday's death is done, and the initial event has ended. But Easter Sunday is not here, and there is no resolution. There's only sadness and grief and pain and silence. What do we do on Saturday? We rehearse these holy days as a way of discipling our hearts. So what do we do on Saturday is not merely a question about Holy Week, but our whole lives. What do we do on our Saturdays? What do we do in those moments when the initial event of loss or pain is over and there's no resolution? Our spiritual lives depend on it. What do we do on Silent Saturday? Christians are often quick to run past Good Friday to get to Easter Sunday. We love to celebrate God's victory, but we're much less comfortable with sitting in the grief and pain. We unconsciously assume that God is active in our good days, but absent in our bad days. I felt that. I bet you have too. God did not let His disciples out of the pain and silence of Saturday. He let them live there. Why? I wish I could answer that question. I don't know why He left them in the silence. I don't know why He leaves you or me in the silence either. Why does God leave parents to grieve the loss of a child? Why does God leave one spouse alive after a tragic death of their soulmate? Why does God allow a hopeful couple to experience miscarriages or negative pregnancy tests? Why does God leave a person to get yet another rejected application? Why does God let that diagnosis linger for months and sometimes years with no healing? Why does God leave a family to watch their loved one slip away in dementia? Why? Any answer I would try to give falls short. After all, it's Silent Saturday. It's best to try not to offer an answer where one is not present. So what do we do on Silent Saturday? The Psalms help us here. They are filled with words of lament and pain and suffering and cries out to God in the midst of His silence. Listen to the words from Psalm 27. Hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. You've said, seek my face. My heart says to you, your face, Lord, I do seek. Hide not your face from me. Turn not your servant away in anger. O you have been my help. Cast me not off. Forsake me not, O God of my salvation. Listen to these words from Psalm 13. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Light up my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. There are many more words like these in the Psalms. These give us words on Silent Saturday. These fill the silence by giving voice to our cries. Maybe your situation has not turned out the way that you think it should. Maybe God hasn't done what you hoped by now. Maybe you are the grieving one, the crying one, the waiting one. You're not alone. The psalmists have felt that way. I have felt that way. We are not alone. God's people have faced this silence. And you know what? The Psalms are written because they came out on the other side seeing God as truly good. This gives us hope that we will see that God is good too, even if we're having a hard time seeing that now. Though our story does not seem to be ending the way we think it should, God is still good. He still loves us. He has not left us alone. He will be with us even on Silent Saturday. Keep in mind, the disciples did not know Sunday was coming. Waiting on Saturday would have been much easier if they knew about Sunday. Yet God's goodness and mercy is still with them on that Saturday. God's goodness and mercy is still with you too. Hearing their cries gives us permission to cry out in the silence. The psalmists do over and over. God thought so much of their cries, He preserved them in His worship book. These cries in the silence are precious to Him. Your cries out for Him in the silence are precious to Him as well. Like a parent responding to their crying baby in the night, our God is on His way, just not yet. I know this is somewhat unsatisfying. What we want is Easter Sunday, but Holy Week teaches us that we will have to face Silent Saturdays. We will face times when there's no resolution, no resurrection. God is still good in these times, and the story is not over. We can't change the timing or the ending, but we can trust God even on Silent Saturday.